Most gardeners assume December means the growing season is over. But what if some of the hardiest crops actually prefer being planted right now? After 3 decades of winter gardening, I've learned which plants thrive because of December planting. Today I'm sharing 20 ultra-cold hardy crops you can still get in the ground this month. Stay for number 15 because it might surprise you, and don't miss the bonus tip at the end. The first crop we need to talk about is garlic, and there's a good reason it tops this list. Garlic is one of the most forgiving winter crops you can plant, and December is still a perfectly viable planting window in zones 5 through 9, as long as your soil remains workable and unfrozen. If you're in a colder zone where the ground is already hardened, consider planting in containers or using pre-chilled cloves in zones 8 through 10. For variety selection, reach for a hardneck type like music if you're gardening in the colder end of that range. Hardneck garlic needs that extended cold period to develop properly sized bulbs with full flavor. In milder climates, softneck varieties like California Early perform beautifully and store much longer after harvest. The real magic of December planting is that your cloves have time to establish roots before the deepest cold arrives. They won't show much growth above ground during winter, but underneath, those roots are quietly building a strong foundation. Come spring, while your neighbors are just getting their cloves in the soil, yours will surge upward with vigorous growth and give you a significant head start toward plump, flavorful bulbs by early summer. The second crop that deserves a spot in your December garden is winter onions, including multiplier onions and hardy bunching types. These alliums behave much like garlic when planted this time of year, quietly establishing roots through the cold months and then racing into vigorous growth as soon as temperatures rise in spring. In zones 5 through 9, you can plant onion sets or divisions of perennial types, like Egyptian walking onions, directly into unfrozen ground. For bunching onions, look for cold hardy varieties such as evergreen hardy white, which has earned its name by staying green and productive even through harsh winters. What makes winter onions so valuable is their head start. While spring-planted onions are just germinating, your December plantings will already have established root systems ready to fuel rapid top growth. This translates to earlier harvests and bigger yields without any extra effort on your part. If you want a truly low-maintenance option, consider Egyptian walking onions or other multiplier types. Plant them once in December, and they'll return year after year, spreading naturally and providing fresh green onion tops from late winter through fall for as long as you want them in your garden. The third cold weather champion on our list is spinach, and it might just be the most reliable winter salad green me can grow. This leafy crop has been proven to overwinter successfully in cold frames even as far north as Zone 3, which tells you just how tough it really is. For December planting, gardeners in Zones 7 through 9 can sow directly into open ground with confidence. If you're in Zones 4 through 6, a simple cold frame, low tunnel, or thick layer of straw mulch provides enough protection for spinach to thrive. Choose winter-specific varieties like Giant Winter or Winter Bloomsdale, bred specifically to handle freezing temperatures and short daylight hours. Here's what makes December sown spinach so rewarding. The seeds will germinate during any mild spell. Then the tiny seedlings essentially pause during the coldest weeks. But they don't die. Instead, they sit tight, shrugging off repeated freezes that would destroy tender crops. As soon as late winter sunshine arrives, those little plants wake up and begin producing tender, sweet leaves weeks before any spring sowing could germinate. You'll be eating fresh salads while everyone else is still waiting for their soil to warm up. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps this video reach more gardeners like yourself, who would also find this information helpful. All right, let's continue. The fourth crop perfectly suited for December planting is winter lettuce, specifically the cold hardy romaine and leaf types bred to handle freezing temperatures. Unlike summer lettuces that bolt at the first hint of stress, these winter varieties actually sweeten in the cold and produce slow, steady growth through the darkest months. In zones 7 through 9, you can sow directly outdoors and expect good results. Gardeners in zones 4 through 6 should use a cold frame, low tunnel, or unheated greenhouse for reliable success. Two varieties stand out for December sowing. Winter Density is a compact romaine type with exceptional cold tolerance and a buttery texture that improves with frost exposure. Marvel of Four Seasons offers beautiful red-tinged leaves and has been grown through European winters for well over a century. When you sow these varieties in December, don't expect rapid growth. Instead, the seeds germinate during mild spells and form small rosettes that hunker down through the coldest weeks. This slow development actually works in your favor because the plants focus energy on root establishment rather than rushing toward maturity. Once daylight hours begin increasing in late winter, those patient little rosettes respond with surprisingly quick leaf production, giving you fresh salad greens long before any spring sowing could deliver. The 5th December planting option is curly kale, a signature cold-tough brassica that has earned its reputation as one of the hardiest vegetables in any garden. Kale is specifically cited among crops that can be planted in December without needing a greenhouse, making it accessible to gardeners who don't have elaborate season extension setups. In zones 6 through 9, you can direct sow or transplant seedlings into open beds with confidence. Zones 4 and 5 gardeners will have better luck with some form of cover, even just a layer of row fabric. For variety selection, Winterbore is an excellent curly-type bread, specifically for cold tolerance and overwintering performance. Red Russian offers a flatter leaf with purple stems and milder flavor that sweetens dramatically after frost exposure. Once your kale seedlings establish themselves, they handle repeated frosts and even light snow without complaint. The plants may pause their growth during the coldest stretches, but the leaves remain harvestable and actually taste better after being kissed by frost. This happens because the plant converts starches to sugars as a natural antifreeze mechanism. By late winter and into spring, your December planted kale will be producing dependable harvests while protecting your soil from erosion and compaction. The 6th crop to consider for your December garden is mache, also known as corn salad, and it ranks among the most cold-hardy salad greens you can grow. This petite plant with its distinctive rosette of spoon-shaped leaves has been documented surviving single-digit Fahrenheit temperatures, which puts it in elite company for winter hardiness. Mache overwinters happily in zones 5 through 7 and performs beautifully in zones 8 and 9, where winters stay mild. Look for the variety called Vit, which has become the standard for cold tolerance and reliable germination. December sowings work best in cold frames, low tunnels, or any protected spot in milder climates. The seeds are small, so surface sow them and press gently into the soil rather than burying them deeply. What makes mache so special is its quality during the coldest months. While other greens may survive winter, mache actually thrives and produces its best texture and flavor when temperatures stay cool. The dense little rosettes sit through freezing weather essentially unchanged, then provide premium salad greens throughout late winter when fresh garden produce feels like a distant memory. Harvest the entire rosette or pick outer leaves to extend production. The 7th cold-hardy option on our list is tatsoi, an Asian rosette mustard that deserves far more attention from winter gardeners. This compact, spoon-leaved green has been repeatedly described as one of the most cold-tolerant Asian vegetables, capable of withstanding temperatures around 10 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower when properly established. In zones 4 through 8, tatsoi performs reliably under cover, and gardeners in the warmer end of that range can often succeed with open ground plantings. Most seed catalogs simply sell it as tatsoi, since the standard rosette form has proven so dependable. The flat, ground-hugging growth habit actually helps this plant survive cold, because the dense rosette traps insulating air and sheds snow rather than catching it. December sowings in cold frames or low tunnels give you compact, attractive plants that hold their quality for months without bolting or turning bitter. Harvest outer leaves for a continuous supply or cut whole rosettes when they reach 4 to 6 inches across. The mild, slightly mustardy flavor works beautifully in salads, stir-fries, or lightly wilted as a warm side dish, giving you versatile cooking options from a truly tough winter green. The 8th December planting candidate is Mizuna, a feathery Japanese green that brings both beauty and productivity to winter gardens. This cool weather specialist germinates at surprisingly low soil temperatures and thrives in conditions that would stress most vegetables. In zones 7 through 9, you can grow Mizuna outdoors through winter with minimal protection. Gardeners in zones 5 and 6 should plan on using a cold frame, tunnel, or greenhouse for best results. Both green and red Mizuna varieties work well for December sowing, with red types offering attractive purple-tinged leaves that brighten winter salads. What sets Mizuna apart is its cut-and-come-again growth habit, which means you can harvest repeatedly from the same plants over several months. Snip the outer leaves when they reach a few inches long, and the center of the plant continues producing new growth as long as temperatures remain reasonable. This makes Mizuna exceptionally productive for the garden space it occupies. The mild, slightly peppery flavor adds interest to winter salad, mixes without overwhelming other greens, and the delicate fringed leaves provide textural contrast alongside broader-leaved crops like spinach or mache. The 9th crop on our list is Austrian winter peas, and this one serves double duty as both an edible crop and a soil-improving cover crop. These peas were explicitly bred to overwinter, with documented hardiness down to about 0 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit once established. In zones 6 through 9, Austrian winter peas overwinter reliably when planted in December. Gardeners in zones 5 and the colder parts of zone 6 can still succeed with good protection from row cover or a thick straw mulch. No special variety hunting is needed here since standard Austrian winter pea seed, widely available from farm supply stores and seed catalogs, does the job perfectly. What makes this crop so valuable is the multiple benefits it provides. The peas fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and store it in nodules on their roots, feeding your soil for free. Meanwhile, the vines protect bare ground from erosion and compaction during winter rains and snow. But here's the part many gardeners miss. Those tender pea shoots emerging in late winter are completely edible and absolutely delicious. Harvest them like microgreens for salads, or let the plants mature for a spring harvest of actual peas. Either way, you're turning empty winter beds into productive soil-building space with minimal effort and maximum reward. The 10th December planting worth considering is winter cereal rye, one of the most cold-hardy grains on the planet. This cover crop has been reported surviving temperatures well below 0 and thrives across zones 3 through 8, which means almost every gardener can use it successfully. Simply broadcast the seeds onto any thawed ground in December, rake them in lightly, or let rain settle them, and watch your empty beds transform into a living winter blanket. Generic winter rye or cereal rye seed works perfectly and costs very little, especially when purchased in bulk from farm supply stores. The benefits of winter rye extend far beyond cold tolerance. Those dense, fibrous roots hold your soil in place during winter storms, preventing the erosion that steals your carefully built fertility. The green growth above ground captures sunlight and continues photosynthesizing during mild spells, building organic matter that feeds your soil ecosystem. Come spring, you can till the rye under a few weeks before planting, chop and drop it as mulch, or let it grow taller before terminating. Some gardeners even harvest the grain for homegrown flour or chicken feed. For any bed sitting empty this December, cereal rye turns wasted potential into active soil improvement. The 11th crop perfectly suited for December planting is fava beans, also known as broad beans, and these cool season legumes offer both impressive cold hardiness and substantial harvest. Favas are widely recommended for fall or winter sowing in Zone 6 and warmer, where they overwinter as small plants before exploding into growth come spring. Gardeners in Zones 5 and 6 can extend their range with low tunnels or row cover protection. For variety selection, Aqua Dulce Claudia has centuries of proven performance as an overwintering fava, while Windsor offers excellent flavor and reliable cold tolerance. December planting gives fava beans time to establish root systems before the deepest cold arrives. The plants may not look like much above ground during winter, perhaps just a few sturdy leaves close to the soil, but those roots are building the foundation for vigorous spring growth. When temperatures moderate, overwintered favas take off rapidly, flowering and setting pods weeks earlier than spring-sown plants. This head start often means your harvest finishes before aphid populations build to troublesome levels, which is a common problem with later plantings. The beans themselves are nutritious, versatile, and absolutely delicious when harvested young and prepared simply with olive oil and salt. The 12th option for your December garden is overwintering garden peas, including both shelling types and snow peas bred for cold tolerance. These cold-hardy peas are flagged alongside fava beans as winter-tough legumes suitable for December sowing wherever the soil remains workable. In Zones 6 through 8, overwintering peas perform reliably with minimal protection. Zones 5 and 6 gardeners should plan on using row cover or a cold frame for insurance against the harshest cold spells. Oregon Sugar Pod 2 is an excellent snow pea choice with proven overwintering ability, while Meteor has long been valued as a hardy shelling pea for fall and winter sowing. The advantage of December planted peas becomes obvious in spring. While gardeners rushing to plant peas in March are waiting for germination, your overwintered plants already have established roots and sturdy top growth ready to climb. This translates to flowers and harvestable pods weeks earlier than any spring sowing could deliver. You're essentially borrowing growing time from winter, letting your peas build their foundation during months that would otherwise be unproductive. The early harvest also means your pea crop finishes before summer heat arrives, avoiding the decline in quality and production that affects late maturing plantings. The 13th cold-hardy crop on our list is collard greens, a classic southern winter vegetable that handles freezing temperatures with remarkable grace. Collards are listed among very cold-hardy brassicas, and in Zones 7 through 9, a December sowing can overwinter successfully as seedlings that tolerate repeated frosts without complaint. Gardeners in Zone 6 and even colder areas can grow collards through winter with strong protection from cold frames or heavy row cover. Vates and Champion are two excellent variety choices, both offering compact growth habits and exceptional cold tolerance that has made them standards for winter production. What makes collards so valuable for December planting is their patience. The seedlings establish slowly during winter's short days, putting energy into root development rather than rapid leaf production. This slow start actually benefits the plant, because those strong roots support vigorous growth once spring arrives. Unlike spring-planted collards that must rush to mature before summer heat triggers bolting, your overwintered plants have months of cool weather ahead for steady, stress-free production. The leaves harvested after frost exposure taste noticeably sweeter than those grown in warm weather, as the plant converts starches to sugars in response to cold temperatures. The 14th crop that thrives with December planting is Claytonia, commonly called miner's lettuce, a winter salad green with a fascinating history and exceptional cold tolerance. This delicate-looking plant is specifically described as a winter salad crop that grows right through the coldest months in Zones 6 through 9, tolerating freezing temperatures that would destroy most greens. Look for seeds sold as miner's lettuce, or by its botanical name, Claytonia perfoliata, and you'll find a plant that practically takes care of itself once established. What makes Claytonia so perfect for December is its ability to fill spaces other crops ignore. It actually prefers partial shade and cooler conditions, making it ideal for those north-facing beds or shady corners that sit empty during winter. Sow the tiny seeds on the surface, press gently, and let winter rains do the watering. The distinctive heart-shaped leaves that surround each stem are tender, mild, and packed with vitamin C, which early miners valued during long winters without fresh produce. December sowings establish slowly through the coldest weeks, then produce abundantly in late winter when fresh garden greens feel like a luxury. Harvest entire plants or pick individual leaves to extend production. Either way, you're turning neglected garden corners into productive salad beds during the hungriest time of year. The 15th crop on our list is carrots, and yes, you absolutely can plant carrots in December for overwintering harvests that will reward your patience with exceptional sweetness. Carrots are specifically listed among vegetables suitable for December planting, as long as the soil isn't frozen, and cold frame trials have demonstrated their reliability as all-winter crops even in very cold zones. In zones 5 through 9, December sown carrots work well under some form of protection, whether that's a cold frame, low tunnel, or simply a thick layer of straw mulch. Napoli F1 is an excellent choice bred specifically for cold tolerance and overwintering, while Bolero offers outstanding disease resistance and storage quality. Here's what happens when you plant carrots in December. The seeds may take longer to germinate than summer sowings, sometimes waiting for a mild spell before emerging. But once those tiny seedlings appear, they develop slowly through winter, putting energy into root development during the cold months. The real magic happens as temperatures drop because carrots respond to cold by converting starches to sugars, essentially sweetening themselves as a natural antifreeze mechanism. The roots you harvest in late winter or early spring will taste noticeably sweeter than any carrot you've grown in warm weather, making the wait absolutely worthwhile. The 16th December planting option is beets, which can overwinter as baby plants and deliver early spring harvests of both roots and tender greens. While beets are somewhat less hardy than carrots or kale, they still tolerate moderate freezes and are often grouped with other cold-hardy root crops for winter production. In zones 7 through 9, December sowings under light mulch or row cover can overwinter successfully as small plants. Gardeners in Zone 6 should add more protection or use a cold frame for reliable results. Detroit Dark Red remains a classic choice with proven cold tolerance, while storage varieties sometimes labeled as winter keeper types offer extra hardiness for challenging conditions. When you sow beets in December, expect slow germination and modest growth through the coldest weeks. The seedlings hunker down, developing roots rather than pushing rapid top growth. This patience pays off in early spring when those established plants respond to lengthening days by bulking up quickly. You'll harvest tender baby beets and nutritious greens weeks before any spring sowing could mature. The greens are often overlooked, but deserve attention since young beet leaves rival chard for flavor and nutrition, giving you 2 harvests from every plant you grow. The 17th cold-tolerant crop for December planting is Swiss chard, a versatile green that offers both beauty and productivity through the winter months. Chard is recognized as a cool season crop that survives light to moderate freezes. And while its colorful stems are somewhat less hardy than kale leaves, December sowings in mild climates or protected beds can overwinter as young plants ready to produce big harvests once days lengthen. In zones 6 through 9, chard performs well with basic protection from row cover or cold frames. Gardeners in zones 4 and 5 can succeed with more substantial season extension, like unheated greenhouses or high tunnels. Ford Hook Giant is a tried-and-true variety with thick white stems and heavily savoyed leaves that handle cold well. Bright Lights offers a rainbow of stem colors that brightens winter gardens and dinner plates alike. December-planted chard establishes root systems during the cold months, even though top growth remains modest. When spring arrives, those established roots fuel rapid leaf production that outpaces spring sowings by weeks. The plants continue producing through summer's heat if you keep them watered, often lasting well over a year from a single December sowing, which makes chard one of the most productive greens you can grow for the space it occupies. The 18th crop worth planting in December is Overwintering cabbage, including spring types and cold-hardy Savoy varieties bred specifically for winter survival. Certain cabbages are documented as hardy enough to handle significant cold, and starting them from seed or transplants in December sets up dense, pest-free spring heads that mature weeks earlier than typical plantings. In zones 7 through 9, you can establish overwintering cabbage in low tunnels or cold frames with excellent results. January King is a beautiful variety with purple-blushed leaves and exceptional frost tolerance that has made it a favorite among winter gardeners for generations. Durham Early is another reliable choice, bred specifically for fall sowing and spring maturity. The key advantage of December planted cabbage is the pest pressure you avoid. By establishing plants during winter when cabbage moths, aphids, and other pests are dormant, your crop develops without the constant battle that plagues spring and summer plantings. The heads form during the cool, moist conditions that cabbage prefers, resulting in tender, sweet leaves with none of the bitterness that heat-stressed plants develop. When your neighbors are just transplanting their spring cabbage starts, you'll be harvesting mature heads from plants that did most of their growing while pests were asleep. The 19th crop on our list is thyme, a hardy perennial herb that earns its place among December plantings through sheer toughness and year-round usefulness. Common thyme is rated for zones 5 through 9 and noted to stay evergreen or semi-evergreen even under snow cover, making it one of the most reliable herbs for winter establishment. Setting out young plants or divisions in December gives thyme time to root before spring growth begins. And in milder zones, you can plant directly into garden beds with confidence. Look for varieties specifically bred for cold tolerance, such as German winter or English winter thyme, both of which have proven their ability to survive harsh conditions while maintaining excellent flavor. Container planting works beautifully if your ground is frozen or your garden beds are full. Choose a pot with good drainage, use a gritty soil mix, and place it where the container won't sit in standing water during winter rains. The aromatic oils that make thyme so valuable in the kitchen actually help protect the plant from cold damage, serving as a natural antifreeze in the leaf tissues. Once established, your December planted thyme will shrug off winter weather, resume vigorous growth in spring, and provide fresh culinary herbs for years to come, with virtually no maintenance beyond occasional trimming to keep the plant compact and productive. The 20th and final crop perfectly suited for December planting. Flowers that appear in late spring attract pollinators and are themselves edible, adding both beauty and function to any garden space. And now for the bonus tip that experienced winter gardeners swear by. When you're planting any of these cold-hardy crops in December, pay close attention to drainage rather than just cold tolerance. More, winter crops fail from sitting in waterlogged soil than from actual freezing temperatures. Cold, wet roots rot quickly, while cold, well-drained roots survive remarkably low temperatures. If your garden tends toward heavy clay or stays soggy after rain, consider planting your December crops in raised beds, mounded rows, or containers where excess moisture drains away freely. Adding coarse sand or fine gravel to planting holes improves drainage around root zones without changing your entire bed. This simple adjustment often makes the difference between crops that limp through winter and crops that thrive despite the cold. The hardiest variety in the world cannot save a plant drowning in saturated soil, but average varieties in well-drained conditions frequently surprise gardeners with their winter survival. Focus on drainage first, and cold tolerance takes care of itself. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gardening tips, and check out our other videos on growing a better garden.